Some financial and retirement mistakes are extremely dangerous, and they do not show up until it is too late to fix them. Most people spend years planning their retirement. They calculate the number. They picture the lifestyle. They do the math on what they need to stop working. But almost none of them plan for what happens after they actually move abroad. Missing even one of these 5 can set you back years. Not months. Years. I am a CPA, and what I see consistently across every retirement profile, every destination, every income level, is the same 5 financial mistakes made by intelligent, well-prepared people who simply did not know what they did not know. I have a free resource for you at the end of this video that will show you exactly how ready you are right now. Most people score lower than they expect. Stay until the end to find out why. Let us get into it. Mistake number 1. Your bank account, your investments, and your insurance may stop working the day you move abroad. Here is what actually happens. You register your new foreign address with your home country bank. Within weeks, you receive a letter. Your account is being restricted or closed because you are no longer a resident. Your online banking stops working. Your debit card gets flagged. Your direct debits fail. This is not a hypothetical. Some banks may restrict or close accounts depending on your residency status, driven by international banking regulations around non-resident accounts and the compliance cost of maintaining them. The bank does not always warn you in advance. You find out when it has already happened, and it does not stop at the bank account. Your investment platform may restrict your account the moment you become a non-resident. Vanguard, Fidelity, and many other major platforms have residency requirements embedded in their terms of service. This does not mean you lose your money, but it can mean your access to it becomes complicated and expensive at exactly the wrong moment. Your life insurance policy may have a residency clause where coverage may be limited or invalid in certain situations if you live abroad for more than a specified period. Most people have never read that clause. They find out about it when they try to make a claim, though, and your will. If you have a will written under the laws of your home country, it may have limited or no legal standing in your destination country. Your estate planning, the document you spent years putting together, may need to be completely redone. Here is what to do about each of these. Before you move, not after, contact your bank directly and ask explicitly whether your account will be affected if you register a foreign address. Do not assume. Ask. Some banks have international or expat account products designed for exactly this situation. Opening one of these before you leave gives you a stable banking foundation that will not collapse under you. One practical step that many people overlook is maintaining a second bank account in a different institution before you move. If your primary bank restricts your account after departure, your second account, ideally at a digital bank with no residency requirements, becomes your immediate fallback. Wise and Revolut both operate as multi-currency accounts with no residency restrictions for most nationalities except foreign addresses, and can receive international transfers including pension payments. For investments, before you move, request a written confirmation from your investment platform stating their policy for non-resident account holders. If the platform confirms they cannot serve non-residents, research expat-friendly alternatives before you leave. Interactive brokers and certain international brokerage platforms specifically accommodate non-resident investors and can hold assets in multiple currencies. For insurance, read your policy documents and look for residency clauses. If they exist, contact your insurer and ask what your options are. Some insurers will convert your domestic policy to an international policy. Others will not, in which case you need to arrange international coverage before your domestic policy lapses. For your will, add a conversation with an estate planning lawyer to your pre-departure checklist. A simple cross-border lawyer will review costs a few $100s and prevents a potential disaster. The CPA principle here is this: every financial product you currently hold was designed for a resident of your home country. The moment you stop being a resident, those products may no longer be designed for you. Review every single one before you move. Most people have never checked any of this. Have you? Mistake number 2. The first year abroad is the most expensive year of your retirement, and almost nobody plans for it. This is where people start doubting their decision, not because the destination was wrong, because the financial shock of year 1 felt nothing like the budget they planned. People budget for the ongoing monthly costs brilliantly, They know their rent, they know their groceries, they know their insurance. What they have not budgeted for is everything that happens once: visa application fees and legal costs. In Portugal, the D7 visa process, including legal fees, typically runs $1,700 to $3,500 depending on the level of legal support used. In Thailand, the LTR visa can cost significantly in fees alone. These are not monthly costs. They hit once in the first few months at the same time as everything else. Security deposits on accommodation. Most landlords in expat destinations require 2 to 3 months deposit up front on a $700 per month apartment that is $1,400 to $2,100 before you have spent a single dollar on food. Furnishing and setup costs. Even if you move into a furnished apartment, you will spend money making it livable. Kitchen items, bedding, a local SIM card, transport, adapters, small individually. Together they add up to $1,000 to $3,000 in the first 60 days. Healthcare gaps. Most international health insurance policies have a waiting period of 30 to 90 days before certain coverage activates. In that window, you are either paying out of pocket or exposed. And the financial products we discussed in Mistake 1, resolving bank account restrictions, transferring investment accounts, and updating insurance policies all carry costs, sometimes significant ones. Now, here is the CPA framing that most people miss. These are not monthly budget items, they are capital items. They need to come from a separate pot of money that you designate specifically as your transition fund before you leave. Not your emergency fund, not your monthly living budget. A dedicated transition allocation that you build up in the months and years before departure. Before we get into mistake number 3, if you are serious about retiring on your own terms, not just hoping the numbers work out, hit subscribe to learn from a qualified CPA. Now, mistake number 3. Most people retiring abroad think they have healthcare covered. Most of them are wrong about what covered actually means. Here is the gap that catches people. Travel insurance is not international health insurance. Travel insurance covers emergencies for short periods, typically 30 to 90 days. It is designed for holidays, not for retirement. Domestic health insurance from your home country almost certainly stops covering you once you live abroad permanently. Coverage is typically linked to residency. The moment your primary residence is foreign, your domestic policy may become limited or invalid for non-emergency treatment. Most people have never read that clause. What you actually need is comprehensive international health insurance, a policy specifically designed for people who live outside their home country. It covers inpatient and outpatient treatment, emergency evacuation if required, and in many cases, dental and vision. The cost for a 60-year-old retiree ranges from $150 to $400 per month depending on coverage level, destination country, and deductible chosen. The Healthcare Emergency Reserve. Even with good insurance, there are gaps: pre-existing condition exclusions, policy deductibles, waiting periods before certain coverage activates. A dedicated healthcare emergency reserve gives you a financial cushion for exactly these scenarios. The right size for this reserve depends on your situation. A starting reserve that covers most deductibles and minor gaps is $3,000 to $5,000. A comfortable reserve that handles most scenarios without financial stress is $8,000 to $12,000. The CPA principle here is to separate two questions that most people conflate. First, am I insured? Second, am I financially prepared for what insurance does not cover? Both questions need a yes before you move. Most people only ask the first one. Review your international health policy every single year. Premiums increase 8 to 15% annually after age 60. What you pay at 62 will be materially different from what you pay at 70. Build that escalation into your long-term retirement budget from day one. Mistake number 4. You can lose 20% of your retirement income overnight without making a single bad financial decision. This is currency risk, and it is the most misunderstood financial threat facing anyone who retires abroad on a fixed income. Here is the simple version of what happens. Your pension pays you £2,000 per month. Today, that converts to roughly 2,300 euros. You build your retirement budget around that number, you choose your country, you calculate your surplus. Everything works. Then the pound weakens 20% against the euro. Suddenly, your £2,000 converts to 1,840 euros. Your rent has not changed, your groceries have not changed, your insurance has not changed, but your effective income has just dropped by 460 euros per month until the rate recovers, which may take years, if it happens at all. Now, here is the deeper problem that most financial content misses. Currency risk and inflation are not separate problems, they compound against each other. Your home country inflation is eroding the real value of your fixed pension every year. Simultaneously, your destination country inflation is increasing the cost of everything you buy. And if the exchange rate moves against you at the same time, you are being squeezed from 3 directions simultaneously. Your income is worth less in real terms at home, it converts to less in your destination currency, and that destination currency buys less than it did last year. This is the retirement income trap that catches people 3 to 5 years into an expat retirement when they realize their comfortable surplus has quietly disappeared. Here is how a CPA thinks about solving this structurally, not just tactically. The first and most important solution is the currency swing budget test. Before you commit to any destination, run your budget 3 times. Once at today's exchange rate, once at a rate 15% worse than today, once at a rate 25% worse than today. Ask honestly, does my retirement still work at minus 25%? If it only works at today's rate, you are not financially ready to move to that destination. The second solution is the 2-bucket income structure. If even 20 to 25% of your monthly spending is funded by income that already exists in your destination currency, you have dramatically reduced your exposure. A retiree planning to move to Portugal in 2 years who opens a Euro savings account today and contributes 200 to 300 euros per month is building a natural hedge gradually. Over 24 months, that is 4,800 to 7,200 euros sitting in the right currency before they arrive. The third solution is the rate monitoring trigger system. Set a target rate and a floor rate for your regular conversions. Transfer when the rate is at or above your target. When it drops below your floor, stop converting and draw from your destination currency buffer instead. The fourth solution is the portfolio currency audit. Look at every asset you own and identify what currency the income arrives in. A CPA reviews the full picture and identifies which assets could be gradually reallocated toward generating income in the destination currency over time, reducing the conversion requirement structurally rather than managing it perpetually. Run the minus 25% test on your own retirement budget right now. Check, would it still work? Mistake number 5, the year you leave your home country can trigger a tax bill that nobody warned you about. Most people believe that becoming a non-resident ends their tax relationship with their home country. They move, they stop filing, they assume they are done. In most countries, that assumption is wrong, and the financial consequences of getting the departure year wrong can range from an unexpected bill of a few $1,000s to a significant liability depending on your assets, your income structure, and your home country's specific rules. Let me walk through the key departure year risks by a few home countries as an example. For Canadian retirees, the departure year can trigger a deemed disposition on many non-registered assets at fair market value, even if you do not actually sell them. But it does not apply to every asset, and important exceptions include Canadian real property and many registered plans. Any capital gains on those deemed dispositions are taxable in your final Canadian return. For UK retirees, the statutory residence test determines exactly when you stop being a UK tax resident. Getting the departure date wrong by even a few weeks can mean an additional year of UK tax residency with all the income tax implications that carries. For US citizens, and this is critical, you remain subject to US tax on your worldwide income regardless of where you live or how long you have been gone. This does not change by moving abroad. It requires specific planning that goes well beyond what most people expect. Here is what to do. Plan your departure date strategically rather than based purely on when it is convenient to leave. In many countries, the difference between departing in January versus December is an entire additional year of tax residency. A conversation with a CPA who specializes in expat taxation before you set your departure date could save you a meaningful amount of money. Build a departure year tax reserve. Think about setting aside roughly 10% to 20% of your annual income as a one-time departure year reserve. File correctly in your departure year. The departure year return is not a standard annual return. It may require additional schedules, disclosures, and elections that standard tax software does not handle correctly. Use a professional for the departure year return, even if you normally file yourself. The CPA principle here is simple. Your departure year is not the finish line of your home country tax relationship. It is the most complex tax year you will ever file. Treat it accordingly. Here is the reality. None of these mistakes are inevitable. Every single one of them is preventable with the right information and the right planning. The retirees who move abroad and build genuinely better lives are not the ones with the most money. They are the ones who planned properly, who asked the right questions before they moved, who treated the financial side of this decision with the same rigor they would apply to any major life change. That is exactly what this channel is here to help you do. I have built a free Retirement Abroad Readiness Scorecard that walks you through all 5 of these areas and gives you a score for each one. Download it below. It takes 3 minutes and most people score lower than they expect. Tell me in the comments which of these 5 mistakes caught you off guard and your plan to tackle it. In the next video, I am going to cover something that I think will genuinely change how you think about retiring abroad. Please like, share, and subscribe if you want to see it the moment it goes live. And if you are serious about getting this right, I will see you in the next one.